There is a moment in Jeremy Snead's 2014 documentary Video Games, the movie, where the screen fills with the flickering, pixelated ghosts of Pong. It's not just archival footage, it's a visual echo, a deliberate invocation of a shared memory that exists somewhere between history and personal experience. This film isn't merely a chronicle of events, it's an attempt to construct a cinematic cathedral for a medium that has spent decades defining itself in the glow of a cathode ray tube. Snead's project began not as a studio commission, but as a Kickstarter campaign, funded by over 9,000 backers who collectively pledged nearly $100,000. This origin is crucial. It frames the film not as an outsider's report, but as a community-sourced artifact, a collective desire to see one's own cultural journey validated on screen. The production, therefore, carried the weight of representing those backers' memories, making its assembly a delicate act of curation, as much as creation. The film's structure is deceptively linear, tracing a path from the oscilloscope experiments of the 1950s to the blockbuster console wars and the dawn of indie development. Yet, its true architecture is emotional and thematic. It uses this chronology as a spine upon which to hang a series of tonal vignettes, moments of awe, frustration, triumph, and profound connection. The editing by Snead himself often favors montage over lengthy interview, creating a rhythmic, almost musical flow of images and sounds from gaming's vast archive. A significant production choice was the decision to forgo a traditional narrator. Instead, the film is voiced by a chorus of industry figures, from Nolan Bushnell and Al Alcorn, the fathers of Atari, to contemporary voices like Cliff Bleszinski and Max Temkin. This creates a polyphonic narrative, where history is told not by a single authoritative voice, but through a collage of perspectives, each tinted by their specific era and role within the ecosystem. The absence of an omniscient guide asks the viewer to become an active participant, connecting the threads themselves. Visually, the film operates in two distinct registers. One is the crisp, high-definition present of the talking head interviews, often shot against clean, studio-like backdrops. The other is the grainy, often low-resolution archive of gameplay footage, commercials, and news segments. This contrast isn't accidental. It visually reinforces the journey from analog obscurity to digital ubiquity, while also creating a palpable sense of texture, the tactile feel of a joystick, the hum of an arcade cabinet, the warmth of a CRT screen, are all evoked through this curated visual pastiche. Thematically, Video Games, the movie is engaged in a complex negotiation between celebration and introspection. On one level, it is a victory lap, a proud display of the medium's explosive growth and cultural legitimization. We see the awe of early players, the explosive popularity of arcades, the living room revolution of the NES, and the artistic ambitions of modern titles. It makes a compelling case for games as a driver of technological innovation and a powerful social glue. Yet, woven subtly between these celebratory beats are threads of a more intimate inquiry. The film touches on periods of crisis, the industry crash of 1983, the moral panics of the 1990s, the complexities of online communities. These moments are not explored with the depth of a critical exposé, but their inclusion is significant. They act as fissures in the triumphant narrative, reminders that this path was not preordained or smooth. They hint at the anxieties of creation, the fear of obsolescence, and the ongoing struggle for artistic respect. This duality points to the film's core ambition to serve as a generational touchstone. For those who lived through these eras, it functions as a memory palace. Each clip, each sound effect, each mention of a seminal title triggers a personal association, a specific basement, a particular friend, a feeling of discovery. The film validates those personal histories by placing them within a grand shared narrative. For newcomers, it offers a curated primer, a streamlined genealogy. However, this is where the film's analytical limits become apparent. Its breadth necessitates a certain gloss. Complex debates about violence, representation, labor practices, or the monopolistic tendencies of platform holders are acknowledged but not deeply interrogated. The film chooses breadth of affection over depth of critique, aiming for a cohesive emotional arc rather than a fractured, complicated truth. The score by electronic musician and composer Mike Rasnick is a character in itself. It avoids the cliched epic or chiptune routes, instead opting for ambient, textural pieces that feel both nostalgic and forward-looking. The music often swells not during moments of triumph, but in transitions, in the contemplative spaces between eras. It sonically embodies the film's atmospheric goal to evoke the feeling of gaming, the hypnotic state of flow, the quiet magic of a world rendered in code. Consider the film's treatment of the indie game revolution. It doesn't just present it as another market trend. Through developers like Phil Fish, Fez, and Jonathan Blow Braid, it frames indie development as a return to a purer, more personal form of creation, an echo of the bedroom programmers of the early 80s. This creates a thematic circle suggesting that the medium's spirit continually cycles back to its roots in individual passion, even as its commercial scale becomes astronomical. The conclusion of Video Games, the movie, does not offer a definitive prediction for the future. Instead, it lingers on a series of faces, players young and old, utterly absorbed in their screens. The final message is not about technology or graphics, but about the human experience at the center of it all. It suggests that the true story of video games is not found in silicon or sales charts, but in these moments of focused engagement, in the stories we tell ourselves and each other through interactive systems. In the end, Jeremy Snead's film succeeds most powerfully as an atmospheric object, a carefully constructed mood piece about cultural memory. It is less a definitive history and more a lovingly compiled scrapbook, its pages filled with the light and sound of a medium in constant motion. Its value lies in its curation, in its ability to make the viewer feel the weight and wonder of those accumulated years. It captures the paradox of documenting a medium defined by interaction through the passive form of cinema. The film itself cannot be played, but in its best moments, it makes you remember what it feels like to press start. It stands as a cinematic monument, not to games as products, but to the shared space of imagination they have, collectively built pixel by pixel, generation by generation. It is ultimately a film about why we remember these worlds and why they continue to matter. Thank you for watching until the end. We pour our passion into every single video essay, exploring the stories behind the movies we all love. If you stumbled upon this video by chance, there is a very high probability you might never see our channel again in your feed. So please take a moment to hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and ring the bell. We are actively growing this community of cinema lovers, and your support is what helps us make our content better and more insightful every single day. Let's explore the magic of filmmaking together. See you in the next one.